What is the ideal team size in work? It's a question that gets asked a lot in organizations because leaders want to know what makes the most effective teams, how can we improve outcomes, how can we improve efficiency, and so they want to know, is there an ideal team size? Now, of course, this is context dependent. It depends on who's in the team. It depends on the role that they do. It depends on the industry area as well. But there is research out there that gives us an insight into there is actually an ideal team size. Now, in this video, I can't give you an exact number because the variables are so diverse. But what I will provide is a range for you to consider and think about, and the reasons that the ideal range does exist. If you've never seen one of my videos before, my name's Vince. I work with companies to transform their managers into leaders. So I work with businesses, teams, and individual managers, mainly around people skills, people management, difficult conversations, motivating people, challenging people. When things are going wrong, how do we make them go right? All of that stuff. And team size is a part of it. And you'll see why as we go throughout this video. So I'm going to share with you two key pieces of research here. The first one by Robin Dunbar, who was a British anthropologist. And then the second one, Brooke's Law, and that was created by Fred Brooke back in the mid-70s. So the first one, Robin Dunbar. Robin Dunbar found in 1993 through studying humans and primates, and he wanted to study their brain size, their group size, and their development of language. He came up with a specific number, and it's called Dunbar's number now, and the number is 150. So let's make a note of that, 150. What Robin Dunbar suggested was we can't exceed 150 people in a group if we want effective communication to happen, if we want strong relationships and connections, and for the group not to break down. And you can probably see this in organizations nowadays. Once you exceed that small to medium size of around 150, it's very difficult to know each person in that organization. At most, you might recognize faces, but you're not going to remember people's names. And this is really important when we're wanting to be effective. We've got to know about each other. We can't be an effective team if we don't know anything about each other. Now, you might be thinking, am I suggesting that we can have teams up to 150? No, that would be just unreasonable. Imagine being a manager trying to manage 150 individuals. That's just impossible. I'll explain why in a second. This number suggests that if we want to be a cohort, a group of people working to the same vision, then 150 is probably the maximum size that we can effectively make progress with. If you're a team of 5,000 or an organization of 5,000, then you need to break that down into subsections of 150 at the most. We see this culturally around the world, that 150 seems to crop up a lot. We see it in animals, troop sizes of primates. They very rarely exceed this number because, again, it breaks down too quickly. So coming back to what is the ideal team size in terms of a manager and the people that directly report to them, that they're trying to achieve a specific project, a deadline, a goal, what number is that? Well, this is where Fred Brooke's research, Brooke's Law, comes in. What he found, this is really interesting, that when a project was late, if you added more manpower, it did not speed it up. In fact, it caused it often to be even later, even more delayed. And that seems really counterintuitive. Surely if we've got 3 people working on a team and it's late, if we add 3 more people, we will double the efficiency. But that's not what his research showed. And you'll probably see this in your own teams as well. For some reason, it seems to make it worse. And this is what Fred Brooke found. So we've got 3 people, that's a different color, but hey ho. There are 3 lines of communication here between these 3 people. This is 3 lines of good communication, but it can also be 3 lines of miscommunication. waiting for someone else to do something, the grey area between two different people's roles and responsibilities. But when there's only 3 people, it's pretty straightforward. Now, if we add just one more person in, do we add one more line of communication? Well, let's see. So we go from 3 people, and we've got a bit of a delay. So let's just add one more person into the team. Surely this will speed it up. So do we just have 4 lines of communication? No. Now we've got 6 lines of communication. That's 6 chances for things now to go wrong. Well, what if we increase it to 6 people? So we double from the original size of 3. We now get 15 lines of communication, or 15 lines of miscommunication, 15 lines of delayedness, for want of a better word. Every time someone has to send an email, communicate, pick up the phone, wait for a response, we delay it. Every time that we have to ask for permission, get other people's opinions, there's nothing wrong with this. I'm not saying there's any problem with doing this, but it slows the process down. And so there is a balance to be had between the number of people involved and the speed and efficiency that we can move forward. Now, what I want to share is if we carry on adding numbers, how it exponentially grows at the same time. All right, so 3 people, 3 lines, 4 people, 6 lines, 5 people, 10 lines, 6 people, 15 lines. And when we get into team sizes of double figures, so 10 people, 45 lines, 14 people, 91 lines. Let's zoom in on that a little bit more. No, didn't stay there. Let me hold it. 91 lines of communication, 91 delays, 91 chances for miscommunication. And this is why Brooke's Law is so important. If you are a team leader, and I had a message on a post I put up on social media a couple of months ago, this person, I was talking about this topic, and this person said, well, I manage 80 people. I don't think anyone can manage 80 people. So when managers are looking at what's the ideal team size, we've got to realize that they're also busy doing other things. If we want to be able to motivate people, communicate effectively with them, I would suggest that the ideal team size, if possible, stays 10 or less. Now, I wouldn't go below 3 because we need different opinions, we need people to collaborate and work together and challenge each other. But somewhere between 3 and 10, in terms of unifying people together, providing bespoke support for each individual person, and achieving efficient results, I think is the best region to be in. So somewhere between 3 and 10. Now, if you happen to creep up to 11 or 12, it happens. But you will know, if you are a manager, if you are a leader, once you start getting past 12 people, it logistically becomes really tricky to keep on top of how people are managing. So if you are a manager or leader and you're wanting to improve the efficiency and outcomes of teams, try to limit their size to 10 people if you can. I hope this helps.